Hello, my friends. Just before we get into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that all of my courses remain fully available and you can do them at your own pace. Yes, I took a courageous pivot and scaled down my business, but I also know how powerful these courses have been for thousands of people over the last 15 years in kickstarting their own courageous pivots. Whether it's to take ownership over your health and learn to eat well and serve your family well, or maybe it was to learn how to master your money, tune into your heart, build community, build a business. It's all still there, ready and waiting for you. We even have our Culinary One Pass, which is your all-access pass to all of the courses I previously taught through the Academy of Culinary Nutrition. Head on over to fun.megantelpner.com/shop to explore the courses. You can use code THANKYOU25 to get 25% off your choice of courses. Thanks for listening, and here is today's episode. You're listening to the Courageous Pivot podcast. This is a space where transformation begins and possibilities unfold from the heart. Whether you're standing at a crossroads or seeking clarity on when to trust your deepest instincts and take that life-changing leap, you're in exactly the right place. Get ready to unlock the courage, wisdom, and passion to turn challenge into opportunity. Your journey starts now. Welcome once again to the Courageous Pivot podcast. This is the podcast where we explore bold, heart-led changes in work, life, and everything in between. And I'm your host, Meghan Telpner, and I am so glad you're here with me today. I hope you've been listening from the beginning because it will make a lot more sense if you have. There's a flow to this series. And if you have, then you will know that we've been exploring the stages of pivoting, the whispers that start it all, the joy and discomfort of knowing it's time to change, the power of tuning into the heart. And we dabbled in how to actually do that. In future episodes, I will also be addressing questions that bubble up around money and security, because those are big topics. But today, we're going deeply into the world of the opposite, the insecurity, the feeling we spend the greater part of our lives avoiding, which is uncertainty. We are trying to find our footing on a now shaky foundation as we attempt to clear the way on this very unclear path. Was that enough metaphors for you to get us started? For now, that'll have to do. We're diving into something that so many of us struggle with but rarely talk about. And it's that beautiful, awkward, uncomfortable, necessary space between the decision and the action. It's what we might call sitting in the unknown. Now, if you've ever made a big life or career change, or even thought about making one, you've probably found yourself here in that liminal space. It's that foggy middle ground between what was and what will be, where you're neither here nor there. It's uncomfortable, to say the least. You've heard the whisper. You know something is shifting, but the next step, you can't quite see it yet. That doesn't stop your mind from waking you up at 3 a.m, just spinning with all the hopes, all the fears, all the what ifs. It can feel a little like free falling or suffocating. Neither's awesome. It's hard because what's old and what you know carries the illusion of comfort. Should I put on my old nutrition hat for a moment because it's still always in my backpack? It's like calling your favorite food from childhood a comfort food, even though eating it now makes you gassy and bloated and not feel very well, like not actually comfortable. It no longer fits, but you know it. It's familiar, so it carries the illusion of being okay or safe. However, once you accept and admit to yourself that your heart wants something else, even if it's not clear yet, it becomes more and more uncomfortable to remain where you are. Many guests talk about this period. But this part of the process, it's where some of the most beautiful transformations actually happen. It's also where you begin to get clear about what you are and are no longer willing to do or tolerate. Your threshold for BS is lower. You see things differently. So let's zoom out for a quick second. My pivot didn't happen overnight. For those who are new here, I started my business back in 2008 with a cooking class held at my kitchen table. It wasn't even really a kitchen table. It was a drafting table I found on Craigslist and wheeled over here on a dolly I found in a back lane. Nevertheless, it grew into a school, which grew into a certification program, which grew into best-selling books, a global community, international retreats, a product line, media coverage. It was a full-on entrepreneurial journey. From Undiet to the Undiet Cookbook, the Academy of Culinary Nutrition, to hundreds of practitioners around the world, it was big, and it was beautiful, and it was wildly profitable. And then there was the whisper. The whisper for me started in 2019. I had long dreamed of retiring early, and in 2019 I had a 2-year-old baby. My son's second nanny, one we loved dearly and whom I trusted fully, had just told me she was pregnant and would be leaving in the fall. And I just felt done, overwhelmed and exhausted trying to keep my child thriving, my business and marriage thriving, and also my houseplants thriving. In June of 2019, I sent an email to a group of entrepreneur friends asking if they had any leads on people who would be CEO material. I decided I wanted to find someone else to run the company, and I could just stay on to make fun cooking videos and teach my courses, but not have to actually run the growing company. What came from that was an invite to join a very exclusive entrepreneurship community. I promise you that you've heard of at least one person in this group. They're big deals, and I felt like I'd fallen through the cracks to have been let in. Like, what am I doing here? Little old me. But I soaked up all the wisdom. I learned how to better delegate, manage, and grow in reach, customers, profit, and as a CEO of my company. I learned how to hire better, and I built an all-star dream team, genuinely. As I record this, it's been more than 2 years, and this team, we still meet monthly for our own little mastermind group. As I was cleaning my office recently to prepare to work on this podcast, I found an update I wrote to share with my mastermind group in November of 2021. And it read, I shared with my team that I'm ready to move on, and I've started actively seeking out the transition plans. Hire a CEO, look into IP acquisitions, or a soft close to the doors and vanish into the night. That was what I had written. I was officially in the liminal phase. I knew I wanted out. My heart had moved on, but I didn't know how or where to go. In 2022, I made the announcement that I was done, that this would be my final year. And you're thinking, wait a second, you didn't finish in 2022, you finished in 2023. Exactly. So I made the announcement in 2022, and then, with the weight off my shoulders, responsibility effectively delegated to my amazing team, something wild happened. I hadn't expected this, but I started having fun again. I had fooled myself into thinking that I could keep going. The thing is, and this is an annoying truth, but the heart never lies. And when our launch in April 2023 didn't go as planned and I saw real work ahead of me, I looked at the tasks laid out before me, red pen work of reviews and updates and tweaks and pivots, the strategic kind that was, knowing that I couldn't do this. Knowing that things needed to shift was no longer an option. In that moment, I didn't know how or even what that meant. I just knew that I was being called to slow down, to make space, to scale back, even though everything looked successful from the outside. Everything was successful from the outside. And moreover, I had no idea who I would be outside the business I'd built. Would people still care what I had to say? Would I still be of value if I wasn't producing, performing, or growing something all the time? I questioned myself, my worth, my purpose. To be completely honest, I still do. I still don't know what to say when I'm asked to introduce myself or when someone asks me what I do for work. I sat in the unknown for 2 years before beginning this. I am still sitting here in many ways. It's not always easy, but it is right. What I've come to learn is taking the leap itself isn't actually where the magic happens. That is not where you change. That, it turns out, is actually the easier part. It's in the space in between that your mind will try and fill in all the blanks. The ego does not like not knowing. So it'll nudge you to do something, anything, just to get back to a place that feels secure. It might even trick you into thinking you should just go back to what you were doing before, the old job, the old partner, the old habits. But the truth is, it's okay not to know. It's more than okay. It's necessary. There's a concept I've been exploring that has a horrible name for a concept that I love: the fertile void. Really, it's a terrible name. But it's this place in the creative cycle where nothing is happening on the surface, but underneath, life is stirring. For my fellow Zone 5 Canadian gardeners, it's tulip season in early April. That's what this period is. There's nothing but dried leaves on the surface and maybe even some remnant snow and frost, but underneath the surface of the soil, the bulbs are stirring to life. You also know that you didn't just plant those bulbs. They've been chilling under the surface for a full 6 months since the fall, gathering energy to burst forth in beautiful blooms. Dare I say it, but you and I, we may also be radiant tulips. I didn't say the metaphors were gone for good. They're just gone from the intro. They're back. Because when you honor that pause, when you trust the stillness, something aligned and beautiful eventually begins to emerge. That's what sitting in the unknown is. It's the fertile void. It's winter before the bloom of spring. And if you rush it, if you try to force clarity before it's ready, you risk planting seeds in the wrong soil. You say too many small yeses, filling the space and your calendar to avoid the work that still needs to be done to find the one big absolutely yes. But how do we stay here? How do we sit in this liminal space without freaking out, quitting everything, or jumping into something just to feel productive? I have not been very good at that. I have Rise and Shine. I have Money Mastery. I have the Culinary One Pass. It's amazing how busy I've been able to make myself. But here's what helped me, or maybe I should say continues to help me. First, create intentional space. When I was in the thick of the unknown, I didn't know what to do with myself. I had honed the skills of productivity since high school. Work hard, get it done, review, revise, perfect, get the A. I began having to channel that same discipline to get comfortable giving myself space to not know. I didn't fill up my calendar. I let go of timelines and bless my assistant Jen for her patience with this process. I had to stop launching new things just to have something to do. Instead, I took walks, I journaled, I sat on my porch and crocheted. I took some courses for fun, I napped. I've never been a napper. I let my nervous system resettle, recover. This wasn't easy. In fact, this was exquisitely harder than working hard, but it was necessary. Stillness was what allowed the wisdom to bubble up. It remains necessary. This podcast is a project that comes from my heart. For this reason, I'm remaining committed to keeping the space feel open and free and just seeing what comes. So that was the first thing. The second is to let yourself grieve. Leaving behind an identity, a beautiful one that was of service, that helped people, that's a loss. Before my team's final day, we had a farewell ceremony, grieving the end of what we were building together. And then I reflected back privately. I missed the version of me who had it all mapped out, who was so full of energy and excitement and drive. I missed that drive, but the thought of embodying it also felt so foreign and so outdated. There have been a lot of moments I felt lost. My friends are all entrepreneurs, busy creating and launching and hustling. I sometimes felt like the mom sending random texts and memes while everyone else had real stuff to do. But I didn't try to bypass it. The grief of what was held wisdom too. It served to remind me that it wasn't me anymore, that the person who had created what I had created was not who I was today, and that was okay. That was better than okay. I had grown out of it. And the third, be mindful of inputs. When you're in the unknown, it's very tempting to seek answers outside yourself. Scrolling, consuming content, asking everyone else what you should do, investing in high-ticket coaches and courses. Guidance can be helpful, but too much noise can drown out your own wisdom. That's why I lean on practices and continue to, like heart coherence, which I spoke about in a previous episode. The more you can bring yourself into alignment with your heart, the more you'll hear the next right thing for you. Do not be distracted by someone else's dream. And fourth, release the timeline. This one is tough in a world that rewards speed and productivity, or in my case, my reliance on Asana, a project management app that for 10 years told me what I needed to do every day. I thrived on seeing projects mapped out and knowing exactly what I had to deliver on and when to produce the goods. But the truth is, life unfolds on its own timeline. It always has. The next step will reveal itself, and not always on your schedule, but right on time. My long ago meditation teacher Tom Knowles would say, and I've shared this many times, the unknown is a safe place, and the only thing to fear is the ever-repeating known. When we are in the unknown, we are opening up to potential, to that which we can't yet imagine is possible. Finding comfort in the unknown is next to impossible, but it can be helpful to work on trusting that you are safe here and that all is unfolding just as it needs to be. So if you're here in that liminal space, wondering what's next, unsure of what you're doing or where you're going, I want you to know this. This is part of the pivot. You are not lost, you are becoming. The discomfort is not a sign that you've done something wrong. It's a sign you're on the edge of something meaningful. So let yourself be here. Let yourself be still. Let yourself be quiet enough to hear what your heart is trying to say. I'll leave you with this. The unknown is not empty. It's not some vacuum out in the ethers. It's in you. It's in your heart. It's your future. It might be your present. But most of all, it's full of potential. As I've been cleaning house, clearing out this loft that I moved into in 2006, that was my home, my cooking school, my filming studio, and then my office, I've been stumbling on treasures. Today I flipped open a journal and came to a page and found a Post-it note stuck on. I remembered this as a mantra I used to repeat when I woke up in the morning and before I went to sleep. It resonates as much now as it did 15 or so years ago. I think it might resonate with you too, so feel free to hit pause and grab a paper and pen. Yes, paper and pen. I have no doubt the power of actually writing will come up in a future episode. So here it is. My work and my life's path are now rapidly moving toward their divine realization. An abundance of love, beauty, and energy is now emerging naturally in my life. I share these gifts with others through joyful service. Now, I have no idea where this came from. It sounds extremely wise and profound, but as I've gone through my journals, I've noticed that when I take the time and ask my heart the questions, it's amazing what comes through. If I did happen to copy this from a book or you know the original source, please let me know. Ultimately, the takeaway is that when you stop trying to rush to the answer finds its way to you. So breathe, because you do have to be still and quiet enough to hear it. You're not behind and you're not broken. You're in the sacred middle, the space in between. And this is often where you find the greatest sweetness of all. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who's in the in-between, who needs the reminder that not knowing is perfectly okay. You can find show notes, resources, and special offers for you over at courageouspivot.com. The best place to subscribe, in my opinion, is on Substack, where you'll get a little note every time a new episode drops. And also, your reviews are meaningful to me. So leave some, please. Or on Substack, leave a comment. That's great too. Until next time, I want you to keep trusting your heart, stay open to the unknown, and know that clarity is coming. One breath, one beat, one brave pause at a time. Thanks for joining me today. Have a beautiful rest of your day.